Welcome to the Calder Farmstead.
Now the Ice Hawks back out to center in transition. Carlson with Quenneville 2-on-1. Right when Carlson comes, Quenneville scores!
Here's a chance for Garrett. Fighting scores! Off the face-off! Up in Zeminger. Pulled back to Werenski. Has it. Shoots one. Bounces off a man. 5 seconds left. Werenski. Another jam on the shot. Turning and firing. They go! Scores! They score! Now they catch each other. They both go right over the top. Matching rights to one another. McDermott gets the helmet off of Cassie.
And now with 9 minutes gone in overtime, the Bears breaking out right side with Bear. Looks like cutting to the net. Bear will score!
And here are your hosts, Cece and Sean.
Ahoy, mateys, and greetings from the high seas of Denver, Colorado.
And Paris, France.
Ooh, avast ye, and welcome to the Calder Farmstead podcast, episode number 57, for Friday, October 29th, 2021. If you were hoping for a podcast featuring a guide to livestock insurance, we're not going to be much help. This is an American Hockey League podcast, and my name is C.C. Hawkley, a distant relative of Blackbeard and AHL editor of Full Press Hockey.
And I'm Sean O'Brien from Opera Populaire and the AHL's only league-wide analytics guy.
Boy, that's got to be confusing to the folks tuning in audio only.
Yeah, this would be a very smart episode to click over to the YouTube links. I feel like you'll get a little bit more, like last year's Halloween episode. You'll get a little bit more fun in this one if you watch us as opposed to just listen. But, you know, you do you. I don't know your life.
Absolutely. Yes. Very much a visual aid episode. And as always, folks, we thank you all for tuning in.
And if you're new to hearing Cece and I talk about hockey, we're going to preview some of the matchups in the upcoming Halloween weekend for you. We both watch a lot of AHL games. We're going to talk about what we see when we watch the film, as well as use some advanced stats to help us break that down. If that's new to you, you might want to head over to our podcast feed or YouTube channel, wherever you're checking us out from today, and look at episode 0. It's all the way at the bottom there. It's the first thing we ever did, but go check that out. It's a short primer on some of the stats we're going to be talking about, as well as how we view what's important on the ice. So if you're new to some of the more advanced hockey stats terms like PDO or the point shares model, or newer hockey terms like controlled zone entry, go check that out so you better be able to pick up what we're putting down. I promise it's not that nerdy or technical. It's only 20 minutes, and let's be honest, you wasted 20 minutes buying into urban legends that there are razor blades or cyanide in trick-or-treat candy. You'll never get that time back, so why not spend a little more time next time with us talking hockey? We also want to open the episode here by talking about a change that we're making for this season. So last season, we did the goalie pool 6-pack challenge to try and encourage the coaching staff around the AHL to have the courage to pull their goalie earlier when down by 1 or 2 goals, because coaches are way too conservative about that, and pretty much everyone likes beer. Basically, if a coach pulled his goalie with 75% of the statistically researched optimal time to pull, we'd offer them a 6-pack of beer of their choosing for free. While fun and very on brand with us, we are going to shift to something a bit different. We're still offering rewards, and for every instance of a team pulling their goalie within that time limit. But instead of offering beer, we're actually going to donate $10 for each time to the Mattis Kivleniks Memorial Fund that the Columbus Blue Jackets have set up. That seemed like a better use of our resources here at the Calder Farmstead. So the Goalie Pool 6-pack challenge has now morphed and become the Goalie Pool 80 challenge. We will try and get every instance of a team that pulls their goalie in the correct span, but I'm sure we're bound to miss some. So if you see your team down by 1 goal at home, pull their goalie at or before 2 minutes and 54 seconds, or down by 2 at home, but before 4:07 in the third period, that's a winner. If they're on the road and down by 1, the line is 3 minutes and 21 seconds. Down by 2 on the road, it's 5 minutes and 20 seconds. We have 2 documented winners so far this season, and appropriately, the Cleveland Monsters were the first. We will keep track of those as the year goes on and make our donation at the end of the season as part of our award show. But until then, we wanted to, give you an update on what's going on with the Goalie Pool 6-pack challenge, now the Goalie Pool 80 challenge. And we'll periodically from time to time, give you some updates on how that's going for teams and highlight the coaches that do the right thing there and pull their goalie early. But we have some work to get to.
Ah, yes, we do. And I've recovered from my scurvy. I had some scurvy that I had to take care of last time. And now we're going to dive into the AHL weekend preview for Halloween. Boy, that messes with my voice more than the Macho Man impression that I do. And that's saying something. That is saying something. So I'm going to go back to my regular speaking voice here, and let's get to it. We'll go from east to west in our previews and start with the Atlantic Division, and it's only fitting, Sean being the Phantom of the Opera, wearing the Lehigh Valley Phantoms jersey, and let's talk about Lehigh Valley's weekend. They start at Utica Friday at 7 p.m. local time, and then they go to Syracuse. They host Syracuse, rather, on Saturday at 7:05 p.m. So, Sean, take it away. Let's talk Lehigh Valley. They are one of 3 winless teams in the AHL currently.
Yeah, it's not gone very well for them. I think the big picture here is their special teams, power play very bad, penalty kill very good. With the week starting Tuesday, they were tied for second in penalty kill, a net penalty kill percentage, tied with Utica. Only Syracuse was ahead of them. Only Providence, Rochester, and Rockford are worse on the net power play percentage. Their penalty differential, though, is third in the AHL, which is good. The big problem that they have to start with on their power play, and there are many, is their zone entries are not great. They primarily use the same zone entry play. It's a play called the Canucks center lane option. I don't like it as much as it's reliant on more complicated reads of where to go with the puck from your puck carrier. It's also not terribly dynamic and doesn't do a good job of stretching the penalty killers both vertically and horizontally in the neutral zone. They should try and use the double drop more often. And we started to see this on Wednesday's game, which I think was an improvement. That only power play goal that Lehigh Valley scored on Wednesday, it came off that double drop entry, as well as probably a boarding call that should have gone against Wilkes-Barre Scranton, I believe it was, to Adam Clendening. But even in the moments in which they still had some, execution to work out on that double drop entry play, even when it wasn't well executed, they bobbled the pass or they didn't quite get it, it still managed to get them into entries more often than not, even if it was a little sloppy at times. Their power play units, though, I also take some issue with here. What they've been running prior to this week, they had York on the point for power play 1 with Forrester and Frost on the half walls, but had them on their strong side half wall. Forrester a righty on the right wall, Frost a lefty on the half wall. They had Shushko as the bumper in the bumper spot at Hartford, Wilson as the net front, and then Tuomola as the bumper on Friday with Willman as the net front. Power play 2, Zamula on the point, O'Reilly a lefty on the right half wall, Clendening a righty on the left half wall, Mayhew was the bumper, and Ratcliffe at the net front. These got shaken up a little bit Wednesday at Wilkes-Barre Scranton. Power play 1 was Zamula, Clendening, Frost, Mayhew, and Wilson, with Clendening on the left, Frost on the right. Power play 2 was York, Forrester, O'Reilly on the half walls. Bumper was Willman, and the net front was Rubtsov. And they had Forrester on the left side, which is where he's supposed to be. These are a bit better, given that you're giving Frost and Forrester that one-time opportunity, but that should have been the plan the whole time. It was funny when Forrester first got a chance on the left half wall and ripped a couple one-timers. The Phantoms broadcaster, Bob Rotrock, was like, wow, yeah, those looked like Ovechkin out there. And I'm like, yeah, your broadcaster almost figured out that that's what you should be doing the whole time. That's not a good look for the coaching staff there.
No.
But the Phantoms here, what they need to do to try and generate some power play success going is load up power play 1 with O'Reilly at the net front, Mayhew as the bumper, Frost and Forrester on their offside half walls, and Cam York up top. That way you can allow Frost to threaten to shoot or pass to either Mayhew in the slot, who can rip shots. He did so for Iowa for years. You can have him threaten across Royal Road to Forrester, who can obviously rip one-timers, down to Cal O'Reilly, who can then hit Mayhew or Forrester or work a power move down low and shoot. Plus, you still have Cam York on top, who can quarterback the whole thing. You should be giving that first stacked unit a minute and a half of the 2-minute power play, then send that second unit out made up of whoever's basically left, and let them work the last 30 seconds with roughly the same structure if you can. The other problem I have is their tactics have not been great on these power play attempts. It's a lot of working the puck around the outside slowly. No real work or intention in collapsing the penalty kill down low, then going up high for clean shot attempts, or working for these cross-creased Royal Road one-timers. some of which is because they don't have those available because they had guys on the half wall that can't shoot one-timers. This looked a little bit better Wednesday night against Wilkes-Barre Scranton. Still, they're looking rushed, as if they were trying to force plays into the slot instead of taking their time, setting up, working on breaking down the penalty kill. I'm happy that they're looking to make passes inside on Wednesday and set up one-timers more often, but there needs to be some more patience here from their power play. And again, stack that top unit, give them 75% of the power play to go work, let the other guys, play around with the last 30 seconds. That's how you're going to jumpstart this power play if you're Lehigh Valley.
Yeah, I was really shocked when you put Mayhew on the second power play unit. It's like, what are you thinking? Did you not see what he did with Salmonas over in Iowa and the magic that they created on the power play?
It's one thing if you put, Mayhew in the bumper spot because you have Zayd Wisdom healthy and you put him in the bumper spot like that. I'm like, okay, Zayd Wisdom is your prospect. Mayhew is not that guy for you, but like you kept him out of the bumper so you could put Shushko there. No.
Bit of a head scratcher.
That's a
Well, let's move on from the power play to the penalty kill. And what have you seen from the PK that you like?
I think their PK is successful for a few reasons. Number one, they forecheck pretty well for a penalty kill. They do a very good job of disrupting entries. Even zone entries where a team gets into the zone, they keep them from setting up and becoming a team that is ready in formation in that 1-3-1 that pretty much every team runs in the power play. So even if they're giving up a zone entry, they're making sure that they're not just letting the other team get set up, get ready to roll. Because once that happens, it's really hard as a penalty kill to stop a scoring chance once a team gets set up. So even if they aren't breaking up the play at the blue line, they're making sure that that team is never ready to start the offense that they had planned and drawn up. They also don't get collapsed easily. And what I mean is a lot of times you'll see teams work the puck down low. They'll draw all those penalty killers down, and then they'll go up top and around to the other side. And by the time that puck gets there, like there's, a football field between that other half wall and the nearest defender because they've collapsed the penalty kill. Lehigh Valley's done a very good job of not getting sucked down like that and making sure that their guys away from the puck are responsible and in their lanes. They also have gotten good goaltending. Like Felix Sandstrom has absolutely bailed them out when they make bad mistakes. They also have power kill tactics too. And for those unfamiliar with that term, that's something that I want to say the Blue Jackets really popularized the last couple of years of not just trying to kill penalties and kill the clock, but also looking to spring guys for breakaways, block a shot up high, and you'll see that offside, that weak side winger or that weak side penalty killer just take off and go, looking to get a breakaway on that. Max Willman scored on a shorty the other night on a similar situation, and seeing that level of awareness, not just to spring for the breakaway, but that both of them already knew that that was the whole plan. As soon as a shot get blocked or a pass got deflected, it's take off. That's something too that will keep power plays at bay because they have to be aware they can't make, passes like that or dangerous passes because it's not just going to get broken up and they have to reset and come up with the entry. It's going to get broken up or that shot is going to get blocked and you're going to be chasing down breakaways or 2-on-1s the other way, which is no bueno. They came up short a little bit on the penalty kill against Wilkes-Barre on Wednesday because Rubsaw botched a coverage up high, and then another one where Jackson Cates chased way too deep on the forecheck and got caught. Both of those to me are individual mistakes and not big picture wrong. So I'm not overly concerned about a bad PK performance there from what has been the last, this season to start and all of last season, a very strong and very well-structured penalty kill.
Speaking of, well, you mentioned seasons, but let's talk preseason and how much hype that we gave to the Phantoms as a team that can score, that can put the puck in the back of the net. Unfortunately, Morgan Frost, he's got 2 assists in 5 games. Jerry Mayhew has 1 goal in 5 games. And Cal O'Reilly is pointless in 5 games. So, Sean, what in the hell is going on with their point producers, their main point producers?
I don't believe I updated that since Wednesday's game. I believe Mayhew now has 2 goals, but your point still stands there. Some of that is bad luck. We definitely did hype up Lehigh Valley as being a team that we thought would be able to score. I believe our subtitle for the episode segment was "This Opera Ghost Can Score." So Yeah. Some of that has been bad luck. Watching the game against Hartford, Huska kicked out a few giant rebounds into the slot last Saturday, and Phantom just can't get a stick on them. Rubsub had a shot on the rush Saturday against Hartford that if it was that much lower, 4 inches, it's going in the net 5-hole instead of, hitting Huska in the junk. Some of that too is also they need to have a little bit better shot discipline. They have a good number of shots from outside home plate, a good number of shots that are hitting shin pads. Some of their problems also are a lack of sustained attack. They have struggled to set up cycles or to get more than one shot on an offensive zone possession. They're, getting a decent shot off, and then the defense is beating them to the rebound, winning battles along the boards, and getting the puck out into zone exits. And that's not a recipe for sustained success, especially on an offensive level. Some of it too is they miss the absolute life out of Zayd Wisdom right now, who is someone that they can count on to be a wrecking ball for them in ways that a lot of their other forwards just aren't. And I think that's going to be, and he's apparently skating with the team right now. So him coming back to the lineup, I can tell you right away, it's going to be a huge boost to some of the things that they try and do, especially down low and around the net front. He is a wrecking ball, and I love him. But there's a combination of some things here. Like we said, there's a little bit of bad luck, just, pucks that bounces that just aren't going their way, pucks that are just, a little bit off from going in the net. And then some of it is just having better discipline, working more to get rebounds or to take shots from better places. They have looked a little rushed in the offensive zone at times, and I think that will get better as the season goes on. I have not been a huge fan of Ian LePerrier's move so far this season as the head coach, but I'm not writing him off into the sunset after a handful of games. I will wait, much longer than that to determine whether or not how I feel about him as a coach. But I think he will get this ship right, and this opera goes scoring like it's supposed to.
So with that said, again, Lehigh Valley 0-4-1, looking for that first victory of the year. Tell me some keys to the weekend where the Phantoms can seize that first win of the season.
I mean, number one, big one here is win the special teams battles, especially against Utica, who has one of the worst penalty differentials in the AHL right now. That means they're very likely going to give you extra power play opportunities, and you need to make those count. They need to have better shot discipline too. Bombing shots from distance is not a good strategy. Shooting into shooting lanes or shooting into shooting lanes that are occupied and hitting guys in shin pads, that's not going to work either. They need to be working for more dangerous shots from better areas. I mean, an easy strategy here, fake the slap shot you were going to shoot into the guy's shin pads and then go around him. I know, it's brilliant. Why has no one ever thought of that? And I mean, I know that's not terribly insightful here, but silly mistakes are solved by basic solutions. The other big thing they have to do is they need to recover rebounds. If you're going to play this shoot and recover style of offense in the offensive zone, and that very much seems like their strategy thus far, you need to recover the rebounds. You have to do the recovery part of shoot and recover. Lehigh Valley has struggled heavily in doing that, and that keeps them from sustaining zone pressure, keeping the pressure on. They've also had some moments where I don't feel like they've deployed guys well. I have never been a huge fan of Adam Clendening to begin with. I think defensively he's questionable. He's not a very good skater. And there have been some moments with his deployment that I have not felt like we're using him to the best of his abilities. And the same can be true for, sitting Morgan Frost in a third period you're losing. I don't care that he struggled on defense. There are lots of great NHL players that barely ever skate into the defensive zone. Ovechkin, Laine, Malkin. You find me a video of Patrick Kane playing defense, and I will write you $100 check right now. It's fine that he wasn't, completely up to snuff playing defense. He doesn't need to be. He needs to be someone who puts the puck in the net when you're down by a goal in the third. He needs to be on the ice. So those would be my keys to the weekend. Recover rebounds, win the special teams battle, shoot better, deploy your entire team in a way that better fits their skill sets.
All right. Well, you broke it down for us quite nicely. Let's get to the picks this weekend, and let's talk about, well, I guess I'm gonna go first. But so you've got, again, Utica on Friday, Syracuse on Saturday. Sean, the retooling of the power play, again, putting Mayhew up on that first power play unit, I'm really liking that. I've always been a big proponent of Mayhew on the power play, even back in his Iowa days. I make it sound so long ago, but it wasn't really that long ago. Long story short, I'm going to pick Lehigh Valley on the road against Utica, getting that victory, getting a couple power play goals, and then unfortunately dropping one against Syracuse at home on Saturday. Sean, what say you?
I mean, I have to believe the Phantoms pull one of these out, but it seems like Utica is finding ways to win in which they weren't last season. And, there's a myriad of reasons we can go into in that, but this is not, Utica's portion of the show. But I think they are going to stumble on Friday against Utica, and I will take them Saturday against Syracuse, because in terms of teams I trust to perform well consistently, Syracuse compared to Utica, I absolutely trust to, lose a dumb one on the road. I think in Saturday, home crowd, I think that's a good spot for them to kind of get right against a team I absolutely don't trust to be consistent. The model has Utica as a 59% favorite on Friday, and Syracuse a 56% favorite on Saturday. So if nothing else, I'm at least trying to go for the more likely upset according to the model.
Well, that's fair. And I guess I just can't not root for an underdog, especially since I patrol the high seas and I fight for getting all the booty that I can.
All right, so we are going to head to break here. After the break, we will get to Rochester and Laval. If you are just here for Lehigh Valley, thank you for stopping by. Don't forget to subscribe wherever listening to us from so you get episodes in a timely fashion. Also, check us out on social media, links to our social media, as well as links to all of our podcast, places that you could find us, and YouTube. Those are found on our Linktree page at linktr.ee/the Calder Farmstead, linktr.ee/the Calder Farmstead. We are going to go pay some bills. We will be right back. Stay tuned.
Staying in the Eastern Conference, we move to the North Division to cover the Rochester Americans against the Laval Rocket and our Halloween weekend preview. Friday at 7 p.m. in Laval, Saturday at 1 p.m. in Laval. Boy, that's a quick turnaround there with a Saturday matinee game. So let's get started.
All right. Cece, have you seen any early differences between last season's, juggernaut Laval team with Joël Bouchard and this season's Laval team with JF Houle?
Not a lot. They're still a fast skating, forecheck you to death style of play. They still exhibit that. However, they don't seem to be quite as dangerous in the counterattack. Now, last season, I remember them, they were getting turnovers in the neutral zone, immediately turning them into odd man rushes for scoring chances. So far this year, they seem less inclined to make that quick counterattack. They instead prefer to play more dump and chase in those spots and go back to forechecking until they get an offensive zone turnover or recover the dump in and start the cycle. Breakouts have been a bit sloppier, which is to be expected this early in the season. It's also hurt them a fair amount against Bridgeport on Sunday and last Wednesday against Manitoba, and in both games against Belfield that they've played so far this year. Defensively, they've still done a pretty good job of locking down the high danger areas, and they've done really good about forcing teams to shoot from bad locations as well. I mean,
that's interesting too, because you think of Joël Bouchard as being a very, I would say specific coach, but he seemed to coach his teams in his own way. It's interesting to see them kind of hold on to what seems like a lot of the systems and stuff that was in place. Now, granted, I'm sure Montreal is putting the thumb on their scale there, but what I think is interesting is Montreal's doesn't necessarily seem to run the same style as Laval in the sense of that heavy forecheck. You don't really think of that as being Montreal. You think of them as just being, please Carey Price, save us. But that's, a conversation for another day. One big surprise we've seen out of Laval, I mean, Michael Pizzata has been their best player.
No, just no. Now the phrase goes, they don't ask how, they ask how many. Well, I'm here personally to ruin that and talk about the how. Now, Pizzata, both his goals this season are practically carbon copies of each other. They're just rebounds that, he just sat next to an open net and he happened to be standing by and he's basically poke checked both into the net. All three of his assists are secondary assists in plays that he had little to do with. in the goal being scored. This is not a sustainable pace for Pizzata. And he'll be in single digit points by the time he's played 25 games this season. So don't be surprised if he just got hot for a minute there and kind of cools off after this.
Yeah, poke checking the puck, not a sustainable way to continue with offense. We were worried a little bit about Laval's goaltending in our season preview, as you're not a big believer in Caden Primo or Michael McNiven, and very much neither am I. They're both boasting save percentages over 920 and a positive goals saved above average per 60. What have you thought of them so far?
Well, in spite of those really good numbers that pop off the paper, I have been whelmed. Not overwhelmed, not underwhelmed, just whelmed. And, they've come up with big saves when breakdowns happen, but they've also let in a few goals that were not soft per se, but weren't exactly high danger chances. Yes, those have balanced out in their favor, but I'd rather the journey to this point have been more goals allowed off breakaways and high danger chances than a couple of the questionable ones that have snuck by. So
that's fair. I'm always nervous when I see goalies give up bad goals where it's just like, oh, I'd rather you give up one where you had no shot or a breakaway or something, because then it's like, all right, you know what? That's fine. They left you out to dry. But when you let up the ones where you're like, but you could have had that, those ones always hurt, because those you can't get back. But you can't get any of them back. But it's those are the ones that keep you up. When your defense leaves you out to dry, it's like, what was I supposed to do?
Oh yeah. The old adage, that you, humorously hear from hockey announcers. Oh, he wish he could have had that one back.
I hate that so much. Every goalie wants all of them back. 100% of the it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
It does not matter. I hate that phrase. Anyway.
Yes. Let's move on. We're gonna talk about the Rochester Americans. Let's talk Amherst. The current estimated PDO for them is 107, powered by a 20% shooting percentage. Shawnee, what has been the cause of that as you see it, my friend?
Well, some of it has been powered by the absolute one-sided ass beating they put on the Marlies, who played terrible defense, got shelled so bad they put Andrew D'Agostini in.
Oh.
Some of that is also powered by fluky sample size that'll come down. Michael Marsh is not going to be shooting 20% all season. Linus Weisbach has 4 shots on goal and 2 goals, 50% shooting percentage. That won't hold.
Unsustainable.
They've also just had good puck luck on the offensive side of it and played bad defenses. And the Amherst have also played bad defense and gotten no help for their goalies on the other end. So their PDO being that high is a weird balance of shooting, lights out and then just not getting help on the other end. They've played a lot of track meet style games. I expect that to balance a little bit. I don't expect Rifle to stop pucks at an 80% clip all season. No matter what you think of Rifle, no goalie in NHL affiliated pro hockey is 80% save percentage bad. Nobody is. They've also had at least one team score 5 goals in each game they played this year. Like I said, they choose to play barn burner style of hockey. And in a lot of those cases, they've gotten a pretty good leads early. So when you're already up 4-1 at the end of 2 periods, you don't need to shoot more. So you see a lot of that, just inflated shooting percentage come from the lack of volume you would get, in a closer, more, tight knit one goal kind of games where it's these games have been pretty much over at the halfway point. So one team is just not going to shoot anymore. And in Rochester's case, even when they have, kind of been down, they've been getting quality chances, but they haven't exactly been going on net. And let's be completely honest, shot counting totals in the AHL are not super reliable.
No, not the most accurate. Coming from the off-ice officials, unfortunately, but I guess that'll vary from market to market. We'll say that. But let's talk a little bit more granular here. So Jack Quinn, JJ Paterka, how have those guys been?
They've both been fantastic. We actually did not have JJ Paterka in our preview because I was under the false impression that he'd either make the Sabres or go back to the DEL, which my bad. He was initially in our preview, had the whole thing written up, everything. And then I saw somewhere that he had a DEL contract and I'm like, oh, he's not going to Rochester then. It's, Sabres or Germany.
Right.
That was not correct. So let's talk about John Jason Paterka. His game is powered by a work ethic that is nothing short of elite. He is everywhere on the ice and will hustle in moments that few others will and catch defenders napping because they just aren't expecting him to be there. His assist to Sean Malone's goal last Friday, case in point. He surprised the defenseman that he was still pushing at the end of that play, got, stripped him of the puck, turned around, found Sean Malone wide open in the slot, boom, goal. And that's not to say that his game, that he has this elite work ethic and that's all he's got to offer, because that just ain't true. He has a very full skill set. He skates well. He has a lethal shot, hockey IQ that's very high. And he's come a really long way as a playmaker in the last year or so of his development, and has gained the patience to stop throwing away shots from the outside on the rush and instead turn them into scoring chances by pulling up, finding trailers. He's gotten really good at that play. All of this combined with the fact that he hustles his ass off. That makes for a player that Amerks fans have definitely enjoyed so far and will continue to enjoy for however long he's here. Jack Quinn's been very good too, and looks more like what I expected to see last season, which gave me the impression that whatever injury he had last year was really dragging down his skating, which has been a big complaint from Jack Quinn's, detractors and scouts and those kind of things. His skating looks a lot smoother. He's done a great job finding soft ice in the slot and using what is his big weapon, his shot.
Speaking of Quinn, random sidebar here, talking football real quick. I was in Safeway checking out at the express checkout, and one of the Safeway employees, it was a Sunday, so Broncos Sunday, you wear your Broncos gear. I saw a number 9 Broncos jersey, and I say, who in the hell wore number 9 for Denver? Brady Quinn. It was a Brady Quinn jersey. I'm like, wow. I don't think he actually started a game for Denver. Good for you.
We all think about the Cleveland Browns quarterback jersey. That there have been some ones in Denver that everyone's just like, man, we don't talk about that guy anymore.
We don't talk about Paxton Lynch. We don't talk about yeah. We don't talk about Trevor Siemian. We don't talk about Joe Flacco.
Nobody should talk about Joe Flacco.
Nobody should talk about.
But what we should talk about are keys to the weekend here for this Laval Rochester series. Cece, let's get some keys from Laval for you. What do they need to do to pull away some W's here from their American counterparts?
Well, hang on a second here. Let me, here we go. I got my keys to the weekend. All right, cool. All right. So first key, clean up the breakouts. A lot of sloppy play during breakouts from Laval that has already cost them games this season. Need better executed passes and puck control on dump-ins. Next, retool the power play. Laval has struggled on the power play since Charles Hudon left 2 seasons ago. Their power play strategy back then was to feed Hudon one-timers. That's it. They basically let Hudon turn into Ovi on the power play, and it worked for them. He scored 14 power play goals that year to lead the team. Second on the team, had only 5. Now, they don't have Hudon style. They don't have a Hudon style one-timer on the team anymore, but they don't look for those plays as much, and they should go back to that. Try and find your guys with shooting talent like Martel and MWAHAHAHAHA for one-timers, or catch and release wrister in dangerous areas. And those are my Laval Rocket keys to this weekend. Sean, how about the Rochester Americans?
Number 1, they must defend the house. My God, has Rochester been absolutely awful at defending east-west passes that lead to shots. We call those Royal Road passes because they're a key to creating more goals. If you haven't heard episode 0 from us, we talk about that a lot. You should probably go check it out. But the Amerks have let up an ungodly amount of those passes through, and they're the root cause of the overwhelming number of goals scored against them. Their shot maps from every game are just littered with shots from high danger areas. And then you can see on the replays a lot of these cross, the face-off dots passes that are getting through. Not just like they were saucered over someone's stick, or like they took they're getting through cleanly on a, passing lane a truck could drive through. And somehow everyone's acting like it's Rifle's fault that goals are going in. Like, don't get me wrong. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, aka Rifle, has not been great this season, but my God, has the defense in front of him been more inattentive than a Camp Crystal Lake lifeguard. Second
Nice
key,
pull.
they have to get the counterattack going. Much of the time, much like when times are going well last season, the Amerks' ability to generate offense off rush chances has been at a high. especially with a team at Laval that has struggled in executing breakouts. Rochester needs to make sure that they're turning neutral zone turnovers at their blue line off a failed Laval breakout or a failed entry play, going the other way ASAP, because most of their goals this season already have been scored on rush chances. That's what I would do if I were Laval. That's what I would focus on. Let's get to picks. CC, you are up first. These are a Friday, Saturday, and a very quick turnaround on Saturday. I guess, the Canadian border closes at 5 p.m., so they have to make sure they're out in time.
I guess so. I mean, yeah, that's to have a game on Friday that late and then to have a 1 p.m. the next night. That in my opinion, Laval's going to benefit from that home cooking and to not, to be able to go home and sleep in their own beds. And I know they're professionals and they adapt to, adverse circumstances all the time. That all said, Laval really loves those railroad passes. I felt like they've done that really well this year so far. And since that's one of Rochester's weakness, I say the Rockets sweep the weekend.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I think we're going to get two high scoring games here, and both feature, teams with goalies that I don't have faith in. So I'm going to take a split here in some track meets. I think there's a good chance we could see 18 goals scored across two games here.
Wouldn't surprise me. Not at all.
I'm taking Laval in Friday's game. I think Rochester, pulls a ridiculous 5-4 shootout kind of win Saturday. So that's how I'm going to call it. The model has Laval as a 53.4% favorite in each game. So the model is clearly on your side here. I am picking against the thing I programmed. Always fun.
We'll see how that works for you.
Yeah. I like to play both sides. That way I always win.
That's villain talk right there.
I am a villain.
Imagine that.
Yeah. So we're going to head to break here. After break, we will go into the Central Division and talk Iowa, Manitoba. If you're just here for Rochester and Laval, thanks for stopping by. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you're listening to us from so you get episodes in a timely fashion. We will be talking, Rochester and Laval when the series is over on our Tuesday episode. So you might want to make sure you get that subscription in. You get it right away. Also, check us out on social media. Links to everything you could possibly want from us, including the audio version, can be found at our Linktree page, linktr.ee/the Calder Farmstead. We're going to pay some bills. Stay tuned.
All righty. 2 divisions down, 2 to go. We head west, and we go to the Central Division to preview the Iowa Wild against the Manitoba Moose. Saturday, 2 p.m. Central in Manitoba, and Sunday, 2 p.m. Central in Manitoba. It's amazing. You have a couple of matinee games instead of, 7 p.m. on Friday and 1 p.m. on Saturday, like Rochester and Laval this weekend.
I actually thought that it was like the Moose were, like the lead-in game to a Jets game or whatever. No, the Jets are in San Jose on Saturday and don't play on Sunday. So why these these Saturday, Sunday matinee games in Canada? I would like to start the rumor that Canada closes at 5 p.m. on the weekends, so they're not allowed to. That's the rumor I'm going with.
I think we need to push that on social media for sure.
I like it. Let's do it. Anyway, big picture here. Let's talk Manitoba. Despite average to slightly below average goals for and against and special teams conversions/kill rates, the strength in the Moose lines lies in their shots for and shots against. Now, their power, to kind of go back here, their power play is struggling despite having that talent to put on it. CC, what gives with the Moose power play?
So, all right. Power play is 21st in the AHL. That's a 12.5% clip, little bit below average, bottom third of the league. Not a place that you want it to sit for the duration of the season. On the other side of the coin, penalty kill, not much better. 20th in the league, 80%, kill rate. Yeah. Again, kind of that lower third, not exactly where you want to be, but these are the, top 5 in both shots for average per game and shots against average per game. So you've got shots for 4th in the league, 35.4 shots averaged per game. That's quite a bit. You're going to score some goals if you do that. No doubt. If you get some high quality chances that is, and you're not just, throwing the puck on net, but shots allowed 24.2 average shots against per game. And that's first in the league. That is first in the AHL. Sorry, it looked like you were going to say something.
No. Was just curious though. So looking at power play here, what have you seen that's a good 5v5, but what are we talking like? Talk to me about power play. Like,
right.
Thought they'd be able to load that talent up, on power play 1, Cole Perfetti, in the house. What is causing you think the lack of power play success here?
Right. Sorry, I heard you ask that the first time, but I didn't set it up very well because I thought you were going to say something about the stats I was given. So forgive me for that. Nope. So on the power play, it's kind of a head scratcher, Sean. So it seems like they've got a case of happy hands and just lack of puck control. Like the puck is bouncing around when they're on the power play. It seems like they're, just not settled. They pass a little too much for my liking. And, they do get some shots on net, but I feel like guys aren't creating those screens that they should, that they get that deflection off of a skate or a stick or a body even. Like, I feel like they're leaving the shooting lanes open so that the goalie can really make a play on it and not get challenged too much. So it feels, oddly enough, it feels like they're more comfortable 5-on-5. And once again, it's just kind of a head scratcher that, they've only converted 3 times out of 12, 14, 19, 24. They're 3 for 24 on the power play. Not a good way to start off your first 5 games.
No, absolutely not. All right. A lot of the success that Manitoba has had comes from their defense clamping down in front with either Mikhail Burden or Arvid Holm. We were high on the Birdman last season, even as he wore down from being overworked. He hasn't been great so far this season, despite a favorable-looking defensive environment, which you can find on the Tableau page that I run. Any thoughts as to why, despite what we think should be a good defensive environment, we've still seen some struggles from the Birdman?
Well, definitely favorable looking, but man, those first 3 Canadian games that the Moose played, the defense struggled. It was, they made some big mistakes. They were, dragging their feet, slow getting back on defense when, the puck was heading the other way. Gosh, I can't count how many times they committed foolish turnovers trying to clear the puck. And even otherwise, when they're not trying to clear the puck, they were just, coming through the neutral zone and they would just, make a foolish mistake and either turn the wrong way or pass it the wrong way. Anyway, foolish turnovers, taking stupid penalties, obviously leading to 5-on-4, but really seeing a 5-on-3 against Laval, that was a real backbreaker in that game. And, it was a 5-4 game Laval, but man, that really changed the tide when you have a 5-on-3 after taking a couple really just silly penalties. So it's just an overall lack of effort in those first few games. I think it really, you could really tell that they were dragging out of the gate. They were dragging their butts. But, Burden, he has 2 shutouts. And, I think the Moose put together a much more complete defensive effort in those 2 shutouts. And they've really, they're starting to get their head on right in regards to their defensive game. So Manitoba clogged the neutral zone, during puck battles, 50-50 battles where they're both going for the puck or even, pitting a guy up against the boards. D-men were getting the stick in the body on pucks when there were shots on goals to deflect the puck away from Burden. They were doing so without screening him too. So if they didn't deflect the puck, Burden could at least get a beat on the puck so that he can make a save. And, the biggest thing is that they cycled the puck on defense much better. They looked for those crisp tape-to-tape passes, stick-to-stick passes, and they've improved that very much, even over a span of 5 games. Like, I feel like they cycle the puck either behind the net or just away from defenders. They've done a much better job of that recently than on their Canadian tour.
Got you. And I think some of that, too, you could probably attribute, and this we've seen a little bit around the league, with teams with new coaches. We've seen San Diego struggling. We're going to talk about that later. New coach. We've seen Manitoba, as it sounds from you, trying to kind of put the pieces together. New coach.
Mark Morrison, right.
So I think some of that too is we're seeing just, you have a new coach coming in, trying to do new things, getting to know his players better, how well to deploy them, how well to use their talents to their best of their abilities. And while in some cases, like with new coaches, Stockton's Mitch Love has done very well out of the gate. I mean, I don't think it counts for Scott Allen and Hershey as being a quote unquote new coach.
Right.
But like they've gotten that out of their team very well. But I mean, I don't think that necessarily points to them being superior coaches, more of just it clicked for them earlier. That doesn't it just means exactly that. But let's move on here. Let's talk about the guy we absolutely picked to be leading the team in scoring for Manitoba, Mikey Eyssimont. Of course, that was who everyone thought.
Of course, Mikey
Yeah,
Eyssimont, the pride of Littleton, Colorado. Mikey Eyssimont himself.
So what has Mikey Eyssimont done to really just jump off the page on the score sheet? Because, well, I think we all kind of expected he'd have, a good season. He's a pretty good player. Like, we didn't see this coming. So talk to me about Mikey Eyssimont here.
Oh, well, first and foremost, Sean, he doesn't quit on the play. I mean, he's tenacious. He's like a bulldog. Mikey the Bulldog Eyssimont. Write it down. Because he's tenacious. He gets in position to score, and not by accident. Like he's making a concerted effort to be like, oh, I'm gonna sneak into the crease, and oh, I scored a goal. Haha. He's super sneaky about it. It's great. And of course, third, I mean, from the goals I've seen, he just says sometimes, screw it, I'll do it myself. So let's break it down. He's got 4 goals so far this season in 5 games. First goal I noticed, he was patient on the right wing. He received a railroad pass, and he was all alone on the doorstep. Boom.
Boom.
Ba-doom. Second goal, he caused a turnover in the neutral zone. He took it up the right wing, wrist shot, count it. Third goal of the season, kept the puck in the zone after an opponent misplayed it, battled in the corner, and then, like I said, he was sneaky in front of the net once he relinquished possession to one of his teammates. He snuck in front of the net, and then he deflected a shot from the point. I believe that was from Gustafson. And he got his stick on it and deflected it. 4th goal of the season, receives the puck in his own zone, and he just skates up the left wing. He just took off. This is the one that, screw it, I'll do it myself. And skates up the left wing. The defense is kind of caught on their heels, and he just risks it. Had a guy in front, gave him a screen, and he risked it by the goaltender. So these aren't accidental goals. These aren't just, it hit off my ass and into the goal. Mikey Eyssimont is making a concerted effort in a multitude of ways, and he's become a real key piece in this Manitoba team early on this season. I just think that there were probably too many scores ahead of him in Ontario, and maybe he wasn't paired with the right people, but coming to Manitoba, getting paired up with both Mayer and Jones, it's been a godsend for him.
Yeah, and we've talked about this a couple of times too. Like, chemistry with your line mates is what feels like at times a random and fleeting thing. Because you would think, there's some aspect of getting buried on the depth chart because the Reign have all of these guys they need to get ice time for. Eyssimont is not necessarily one of their blue chip prospects, so you're going to play down the lineup compared to some of the other guys. But at the same point, you'd think that team had enough raw talent that it would be able to find people that could, mash with him. But that's not always the case. Like, I always remember early in Ovechkin's career, Mike Newble was his wing. Mike Newble. And it worked. Yeah, it worked. Like, it shouldn't have, but sometimes that's the way things work. It isn't always as simple as like the Bergeron, Marchand, Pasta line where you're like, oh yeah, it's 3 of the best players in the NHL. Duh.
Rantanen, McKinnon, and Landeskog,
Yeah, sometimes that works, but then you have moments like Crosby and Malkin actually don't play that well together.
No, they don't.
Yeah. So, all right, let's call it there with the Moose. They've had enough Meese time. Let's flip the script here and go with the Wild.
Yes.
CC, let's talk about Iowa.
Yep. Every night is Meese night, but it's time to get a little wild, if you know what I mean. So Minnesota, we just got the news today that Minnesota called up forwards Connor Dewar and Kyle Rao, and also D-man John Lazat. So there goes 2 of their top scoring forwards, 9 points between the 2 thus far in the 4 games that they've played for Iowa. And your defensive second pairing guy, Lazat was getting paired with Churchman. He says, adios, I'm heading to Minnesota. So that's 3 key players that are heading up before this weekend series. Not a good omen for Iowa, but in spite of that, Iowa has one of the better defensive environments according to the goalie charts, and Antoine Baribeau and the Hamburglar, Andrew Hammond himself, have both performed well. What has that looked like on the ice?
Well, for starters, when half the games you played this season are against Rockford, that's gonna give you that little Rockford bump.
The Rockford bump, as we call it. Sure.
Yeah. Still, they aren't allowing second chance opportunities here. When you shoot the puck, Iowa is recovering the rebound, winning the battles along the boards, exiting the defensive zone, often with possession. That sounds like a very basic thing all defenses should strive to do, but you'd be surprised how many games around the league and teams around the league this early in the season, teams are not doing so hot with that. Hello, San Diego. We'll get to you in a minute. At the other end, the Wild are getting second chance attempts when their offensive zone time is getting extended, and they're able to shoot and retrieve and continue working on the cycle. And you might think, Sean, that's the offensive zone. We're talking about defense here. Well, the Wild aren't going to give up goals while the puck is out of their defensive zone, or at least not until Hunter Jones comes back. So that possession is keeping the puck away from them having to play defense. On top of that, they're keeping shots to the perimeter, not in high danger areas. There was an entire game that they played against Rockford where they didn't allow a single shot on goal from the inner slot. Not to mention they have guys doing a good job of blocking shots. Joe Hickett's, Kevin Churchman, both been pretty good blocking shots. Derek Baribeau is also above average at playing the puck, and that helps his defense get the dump-ins, get the play moving out of their zone, get transition going. Iowa has also looked really sharp on their breakouts too, more so than most teams I've seen this season. And I think I've watched 17 games so far this season. Iowa has been the cleanest at moving the puck from, recovering a dump in or getting a turnover in their defensive zone, retrieving a shot, winning a board battle, and getting, making clean, crisp passes to the wingers on the half wall, getting pucks out of the zone. They have looked the absolute sharpest, the best executing team. And that also, again, works in favor of their defense. That means fewer bad turnovers in your zone. You don't see those scoring chances against. We just talked about Laval, who struggled with that and has lost games because of it. Iowa is not, and they're able to keep their defensive sheet a little cleaner.
Yes, Derek Baribeau. I was confusing him for Antoine Bibeau. Yeah, not confusing at all, right? All right. Well, hey, Sean, do you think we'll continue to see this level of defensive prowess from the Wild as the season goes on? I'm guessing probably not this weekend with one of their key defenders out.
I mean, Lizotte is a key defender, I feel like, is being a little aggressive in that phrasing, but
sure.
I will say this. A 4-game sample is not one in which I'm going to draw serious conclusions from, but Iowa's schedule in November includes 5 home games, road games against Grand Rapids, who's struggling right now, another road game against Rockford. They also closed the month against Henderson, whose roster is missing a lot of key guys right now. It's tough to say what happens between now and then. There's a lot of roster shuffling and a lot of things I expect that could happen. I'm sure, not 100% of the Iowa Wild are going to make it to the end of November with the same health they have right now. But the opportunity is definitely there for Iowa to continue strong out of the gates in the Death Division in the Central. That's all you can ask for, is that they definitely have the opportunity to keep this up. If they can, squeeze some points out of the mid-month series against Milwaukee, take games in Grand Rapids, do what teams do to Rockford, and hopefully, pull some good stuff out of Henderson, because I'm sure the, trip from Iowa to Henderson is brutal. There's potential here for them to make some hay defensively and keep this roll going.
Wingers on a half wall, turtle power. All right. I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself. That's exactly what I thought when you said wingers on a half wall, but I digress. Let's go back to defenders. Let's talk Calen Addison, the stash man himself, has been quiet thus far this season. He only has 2 secondary assists, and while his power play unit has both the power play goals for the Wild this year so far, they are 23rd in the league in power play percentage at this moment, and he has had no part in those tallies. Now, the model has him in the 72nd percentile and grades him as a second pairing defenseman. Shawnee, should we be concerned?
No, not at all. He's still wheeling and dealing out there. He made a few stretch passes through the neutral zone that have just been beautiful in recent games. He's setting guys up on the power play for one-timers, but when you're a setup guy, you can't shoot the puck to make sure, you can't shoot the puck too. You got to let someone else, shoot the puck. And those shots just aren't going in right now. He's creating quality scoring chances. He's doing Calen Addison things. He was our defenseman of the year last year for a reason, and he still, by and large, looks like that guy. His defensive zone play still has me a little alarmed at times, but his box score stats and model output will catch up to the scoring chances he's creating in time. I also would like to point out he is in that percentile rank for the model, but I have loosened the bounds on that a little bit, because normally we don't get them this early in the season because it's been 5 games and that's silly. But I was in the programming for it. It's like, screw it. We'll leave him in and see what happens. And so far we've had wild things that, make good talking points. But yeah, I am again going against the thing that I program because that doesn't actually watch the hockey games. I do. So that's what I'm seeing. No, I'm not worried about Kalen Addison at all.
So a balance between the eye test and analytics. It's what you've always preached.
That's what we do.
Exactly. Not to lean too heavily on one or the other. Well, hey, just like we predicted, Shawnee, Nick Swaney is your leading scorer for the Iowa Wild. And I'm just kidding, of course. We have no idea. We had no idea that Swaney would be the leading scorer for Iowa at this portion of the season. He wasn't even in our season preview. He was just missed the cut. I mean, we can only cover so much, but yeah, he just missed the cut. So, Sean, let's talk about him now. You have the floor, my friend.
Swaney was another word, which is like, all right, we have enough guys that we've covered here. Like he was, I think would have been forward number 10. And it was like, all right, I think that's plenty. We obviously can't research and do breakdowns for every single player on the roster. We did 492 across our season previews and we did them in 31 days. So if you wanted more than that, they would have to take longer. We'd have to start earlier. And then, you're doing previews 6-7 weeks from the season. Who cares? So anyway, Swaney's got a solid skill set, but nothing really stands out as having higher end elements. He skates well and has NHL speed, but isn't, a burner per se. He's going to win some foot races, but he's not going to be, going coast to coast, walking around guys unless they really screw up. He also has a good work ethic and a solid hockey IQ on him. I'm curious to see how well he plays through contact at the pro level with a little bit more of a sample. He played a couple games last year, but he's a bit undersized and will not be winning the Iowa Wild's team bench press championship. He's capable at his own end, though. However, it's undeniable that he's had some good puck luck early on here. His first goal was on a shot from below the goal line. His second was on a rebound that came right to him. Fourth goal, he just hopped onto the ice and was immediately on a 2-on-1 that he tapped in. Those are some pretty good circumstances. His primary assist was him throwing the puck at the net front from the half wall that found Drow for a tap in. I'm not saying it was a blind dart. He clearly saw that was the direction the play was going, but it was definitely good fortune that he happened to put it exactly where it needed to go without looking. His third goal, which I kind of skipped over there, was a damn fine drag and curl wrister. I'm not taking that one away from him. That was some goal scorer's goal kind of shot. Still, 4 of those 5 are a little more good fortune than outright skill, and all against a Rockford team that's, Rockford. Now, with Dewar and Rao getting called up for at least this weekend, we're going to see if Swaney can take on that pressure of playing bigger minutes against better competition against what should be a more competent team in front against him. I definitely do not think that this scoring pace he's on holds up at all, but that's not to saying he's not good or won't score. I just think that there is, some cold stretches coming for him down the pike here. But hey, I'm sure he's a huge listener to the podcast here. Enjoy the view from the top for now. They don't come often. Cherish what you got here because it is going to get rough in the next couple of weeks, I'm sure. But enjoy your time in the sun. Let's get to some keys of the weekend here. Cece, talk to me about Manitoba. What does Manitoba need to do to get some W's from this weekend?
Well, first and foremost, the Moose need to not allow 25 plus shots on goal. And that may seem like a random weird number, but all 3 of their wins this season, they have kept the team that they've been playing below that 25 goal marker. I think in all 3 wins, they've also kept them in single digits for each period as well. So, if you do that, your defense clamps down, you're going to get the W and you're going to get the victory. But the 2 losses that they have, they did not limit them to 25 shots on goal. It was a little bit higher than that for sure. But that's my first key. Second key, no defensive lapses. Like I said, they've been cleaning that up a little bit more. Now that they're not playing Canadian teams and they're playing guys in their own division, in the Death Division there in the Central, they can't take shifts off. They've got to clear the puck with intention. They've got to, continue that good cycling of the puck around the, behind the net when they need to and make the smart passes in their own zone and not turn the puck over. I don't care if you're in their zone, in the neutral zone, or in your own zone. no stupid turnovers or stupid penalties for that matter. I mean, again, if you allow another 5-on-3 like you did against Laval and it breaks your back and, that costs you the game ultimately, don't let the other team bait you into scrums like the Rocket did to the Moose up in Canada. Last key, keep the offensive momentum going and let your shooter shoot, especially on the power play. Don't pass the puck around so much. Get the puck on net. Your shooters are going to shoot, your Gustafsons, your Asimonts, your Myers, your Perfettis. Let those guys do their thing on the power play and you'll be fine. You'll get that power play percentage up as you probably need to. All right. So that's it for Manitoba. Sean, other side of the coin. Let's talk Iowa Wild. Give me some keys for the weekend for them.
So I'm sure the bus ride from Iowa to Manitoba probably sucks. I genuinely hope the Wild flew, but I kind of doubt it. I'm sure crossing the border into Canada also probably isn't as easy as it used to be in pre-COVID times. Before COVID and like crossing the border, I've seen, bartenders in college towns examine my documents more closely to determine if I was legit than the Canadian border did. So that probably is going to be a headache for the Wild as a team right now. Just crossing to Canada, the bus trip, it's going to be awful. But those bus legs need to get left on the bus. Both games Manitoba lost this season, they were on the road and got dominated in the opening minutes of that game. They gave up the first goal and were outshot 11-5 in the first 10 minutes of both games combined. The Wild need to bring that level to Manitoba to start this game because that's what's kept Manitoba, off kilter is those hot starts from teams. And I'm sure that hot start is going to be asking a heavy lift from Iowa, given what it takes just to get to the game, but that's what they need. Second key, keep on keeping on. This team has looked solid for the majority of their time this season. They're moving the puck well, defending well, getting contributions up and down the lineup. They're executing on basic plays better than a lot of teams this early in the season. And I know that's not amazing analysis of keep doing good things, but they played well. Keep playing well. Keep rolling. Like, don't try and change. Don't try and get cute. Keep doing what your game has gotten you here so far because it's been pretty good.
Yeah, that might be the fear this weekend, is especially with Rao and Dewar and Lazat. Those three guys heading up. Maybe more Rao and Lazat, as you said. Maybe not as much Lazat, but for those guys to head up to the club right before your weekend set, yeah, that's a heavy ask to take one, if not two games, especially on the road, especially in Canada when you're based in Des Moines.
All right, let's get to picks here. Cece, who you taking and why?
Manitoba for the sweep because, yeah, you brought up a lot of good points about travel, coming across the border, everything like that. Again, these are professionals. They can adjust to such circumstances, but they're also human beings. And to spend that much time on a bus and to try and get into Canada that's rough. But Manitoba, like I said, they've really clamped down defensively. They've really started to impress me, moving on. Excuse me, their games against Grand Rapids, they look like a different team than they did against Laval and Toronto to start the season. In short, yeah, Manitoba takes the weekend.
So the model doesn't realize that many just called up their top forward because I updated on Tuesdays and then don't update it until next Tuesday because I have a life. So it very likely would favor Manitoba here if it knew that. But I don't completely trust what's going on in Manitoba, especially with Burden in. So I'll take a split here. I'm going to say Moose Saturday, Wild and overtime Sunday. They, extend the game as long as they can and barely escape Canada before it closes.
Yeah, you got to watch out for that curfew. It'll bite you in the ass.
Yeah. So the model here, like I said, has not been updated to include the fact that Iowa is missing those guys. So it has Iowa as a 53.6% favorite in each game. But I don't know. What do you guys want from me? Every day I'm updating? No, I'm not doing that. So those are our picks for the weekend. That is our analysis. We will go to break here, and then we will get to the Pacific Division to talk what is going on in San Diego and Tucson. If you're just here for Iowa and Manitoba, thanks for stopping by. Don't forget to subscribe to whoever listening to us from, especially because we're going to talk about your series on Tuesday. You might want to get that episode, as it comes out. Check us out on social media. Our links to our social media, as well as our links to our YouTube and podcast places, can be found on our Linktree page at linktr.ee/the Calder Farmstead. linktr.ee/the Calder Farmstead. That is our Linktree. We're going to pay some bills. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Yar, San Diego. In pirate talk, it means a team that's not doing very well to start the season. Arr. Oh, that's not good. Let's go to the Pacific Division. Let's talk the San Diego Gulls, one of 3 teams in the AHL that have yet to taste victory in the 2021-22 season. The other one we covered already earlier this episode in the Lehigh Valley Phantoms, and the third one, the Colorado Eagles. Yeah, that's been a fun Discord to watch on Eagles Twitter, that's for sure, covering the team and being here in the local market. But I digress. We're talking San Diego. We're talking the Tucson Roadrunners. We're talking Halloween weekend. Yes, we are. Friday, 7 p.m. in Tucson. Saturday, 7 p.m. in Tucson. Look at that. Another evenly spaced weekend out. Maybe.
Yeah, Arizona doesn't close. That's why.
Right. They got rid of daylight savings and they got rid of a curfew. There you go. All right. Well, hey, let's get started. We're going to start with the Roadrunners.
Yeah, we got to save the most thorough analysis of what is wrong in San Diego for absolute last on the show. Make you listen to the whole thing. So Tucson was such an up and down team last year. CC, have we seen any balance, any consistency from them?
Well, I mean, their record's 2-2. So if that'll give you anything, no. But seriously, the answer in a word, nope. In 4 games in the season, they've won 1-0 in overtime in a back and forth game. They've lost 3-2, where they gave up 2 goals in the second in under 2 minutes, but we're probably the better team outside of those 2 minutes. They got another shutout, 4-0 victory, dominating the Texas Stars, and then they got smoked by the Stars the next night, 6-2. Turns out that, the Jekyll and Hyde team that was the Tucson Roadrunners last year, they were who we thought they were and continue to be. They are the flip-floppiest John Kerry team that you have ever seen. Yeah, that was a deep political pull right there. Yeah, you see what I did there. Anyway, I don't think they've slept-walked through more than the first 2 periods in the last game against Texas. Seeing remnants of last season's up and down, again, the Jekyll and Hyde Roadrunners, is very not reassuring, especially with Jay Verde coming back. He's not going to swoop in and solve the problems that popped up while Steve Potvin was in charge.
Yeah, that's definitely a concern here. Is like, that would have been my thought too, is like Steve Potvin, did his best in a very weird year with a lot of goofy stuff up in the air. But like, you would have thought Jay Verity would have come in, righted the ship, so to speak there. Something you can speak to. And that's, at least through 4 games, that's not what we've seen at all. We have seen very much the same up and down Jekyll and Hyde team, which I'll at least give them credit for the ups, because we were not high on this team coming into this season. They very much looked like they had the bottom of their lineup filled up with not even good ECHLers. So the fact that there have been ups is at least promising. It shows me there is still upside in that roster. But we were more concerned about this team's forward depth in the preseason. I hope that Barrett Hayton would finally have that breakout campaign that we all know he's capable of. Instead, we have the Roadrunners scoring leader as 7th round pick Ben McCartney. Who is that, and what should we think?
Well, back to the roster, when you're starting Garrett Klotz on your opening night roster, yikes,
big yikes.
Yeah, renowned ECHL goon Garrett Klotz. Anyway, moving on. So yeah, Ben McCartney. We said in the preview that he wasn't going to wow you with high-end skills. He was a power forward who could forecheck well, kill penalties, and above all, finish plays at the net front. It's what he's done. Ignoring his empty net goal here, both of his goals have been from plays he finished right in the net front. One was on a turnover that turned into a rush chance. He banged home a Royal Road pass from below the dots. And the second was on the power play as he was at the bumper spot, found some soft ice at the top of the crease, and tipped home a pass from the sidewall. He's been a lot more effective through 2 games than I think will stick. But in terms of what his game looks like, it's pretty much exactly what we said. It's almost like we spent a ridiculous amount of time researching through those season previews. Losing sleep, losing time. Yes, we spent a good amount of time previewing those teams. But who we thought would be leading the team, Barrett Hayton, got called up. And while that's good for him, I doubt it sticks. And he's going to come right back here to Tucson, which is also bad because the Yotes have yo-yoed him twice and they need to stop it because it's not helping him develop at all. It's been proven time and again. You take a prospect, you yo-yo him back and forth between the NHL and the AHL. That's a hindrance. It's not beneficial at all to the prospect. So at this point, they need to either play him 13 minutes a night at the NHL level and let him figure it out for himself up there, or leave him in Tucson the entire season to play 18 minutes a night and just leave him there. Just dedicate to one or the other. Just commit, for Christ's sakes. Anyway, this back and forth stuff has to stop. It's ruined many a shiny prospect, as I've said, and it's on its way to seeing Barrett Hayton, who is a restricted free agent this offseason, go ahead and work his way right out of town. So that's the deal.
Offer sheets.
Offer sheets.
Yeah. We do offer sheets in this league now. So Barrett Hayton, I think, is going to be a very sexy option for offer sheets this offseason if he doesn't, light the world on fire again. He's capable of this. I've seen him do high-end things, and it's like I've got to be frustrated for him. But anyway.
Yeah, let's move on from Tucson. Let's go to the woeful goals.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy. Yeah. Again, two teams that we were super high on in the offseason, San Diego and Colorado in the Pacific Division, more than stumbling out of the gate, like tripping over their shoelaces and falling flat on their face out of the blocks, for crying out loud. What in the actual hell is happening there in San Diego?
Well, a lot looks like bare bones execution failings. Guys not catching passes smoothly, defensemen not cleanly controlling dump-ins along the wall, having to take that extra second or two to settle the puck. Shockingly, forecheckers absolutely love when you give them an extra second or two to apply pressure. It's literally their favorite thing. They're also missing passing lanes to open teammates, or seeing those passing lanes to open teammates and putting it in their skates or 5 feet in front of them. These problems will be solved with a bit more time to gel, get that timing down, that, understanding. Guys are also still clearly thinking out there, which sounds good, but it isn't. The goals are getting the puck on their sticks, and they're having to think about where to go. Where is my support? Where's the defender? What is the airspeed velocity of a laden swallow? Is my winger on the wall or pushing the pace on this breakout? If they don't have the puck on their stick and they're off puck, where is the area I'm supposed to be defending? Why did Cinderella's shoe fell off if it fit perfectly? What is my responsibility when the puck is below the faceoff dots in our defensive zone? These are probably some of the questions that are going through their mind during play, and that's bad. Professional hockey doesn't move at a speed that gives you time to have actual thoughts about where you're supposed to be and where your teammates are on the ice. You have to know the answers beforehand. In order to play faster as a team, they need to think less, not because they shouldn't be using their brains out there, but because they already know what they're supposed to do before the puck ever comes to them. And it's just about reading, reacting, executing. This has been especially true in the defensive zone, where in going through the film, it became real obvious that about half the goals wingers do not understand the defensive zone scheme because they screw it up all the time. I lost count in a handful of games how many times I saw wingers blow defensive zone coverages badly, leaving dudes wide open. And a couple of them were young guys. Brandon Tracy was one of them. You're going to see that move out of their game because shockingly, they're not that terrible. You don't need too much film to be like, hey, you see how you were here all the way down to the goal line and this guy who's your guy at the point is wide open? Yeah, don't do. That's a fix that, bad coaches can make, let alone what I think is still a very good coach in Joel Bouchard, who, again, as we talked about a little bit earlier, new coach, new system, new team, and Anaheim's going to be putting its thumb on the scale of what he can run. And there's a lot of gelling that needs to happen, not just between teammates and other teammates, but between coaches and teammates, coaches and management ahead of him. The whole unit has to run smoothly. And shockingly, it's stumbled a little bit out of the gate. They've also gotten just garbage luck. Braden Burke's goal on Saturday was maybe the flukiest goal of the season so far. How did that play start for the Marine, though? Brogan Rafferty taking an extra second to get control of the dump in. So, yes, the goal itself was fluky, but some of the underlying plays that happened before it were stuff we just talked about. And we'll get to Brogan Rafferty here in a second when we talk about keys to the weekend. So, Cece, let's get to keys. I'm going to just cut you off right away, even though I teed you up, and I'm going to go right to San Diego. They need to scale back and simplify on defense. There's too much going through the heads of the forwards in the D zone right now, and they're missing the forest for the trees. actually, they're probably missing the trees too. Let's be honest here. They're missing the whole thing. That needs to be simplified. Hockey players are by and large a dumb group of people. And I say that 100% with the acknowledge that I am a hockey player and very much fall into that category. Specifically, Brogan Rafferty needs to play better. He has been the patient zero of a lot of the mistakes that we've talked about. However, I absolutely do not believe that Rafferty is as bad as he's played defensively. He's never been great, but some of it is trying to do too much, thinking when he should be reading and reacting, and just terrible luck. There was one where he was trying to do a rim around in the defensive zone, and it just took a weird bounce off the boards, goes right to one of the, I think it was a Reign player, and he tucks it in. Like, some of it has just been bad execution, thinking too much, and on top of that, just absolute garbage luck. Those are the keys. Yeah.
Just sounds like he was California dreaming. Yeah.
You stay classy over there, CC. Anyway, what does Tucson need to do to pull some W's out here?
Well, first and foremost, they need to engage physically. There isn't a shortage of shit disturbers on Tucson, as it were. San Diego is shown to be struggling in their defensive zone and on the power play, as we've alluded and just flat out said in their little preview there. Get in their face and draw some calls. Now, I'm not saying that they should run the goalie or be looking for late hits, but finish your hits and rattle the boards a little bit. Put the body on them a little harder than you would normally. To kind of dovetail that, or to kind of bookend that. Well, not bookend. I mean, we've got, I guess this is the second point. Sorry, I thought I had another point, but playing 60 hard minutes, that bookends engaging physically. Again, not the most insightful analysis, but we've seen these half-ass periods and inconsistent efforts drown this team last year, and it is still lingering over into this season. It's very much a play stupid games, win stupid prizes move. But when your team is going through the motions instead of being ready to work, the only advice I have is, have you considered not doing that? I do think playing physically and getting scrappy and being in post-whistle scrums is a recipe for waking up the team, though. You know, light a little bit of a fire, not only under your asses, but under the San Diego Gulls' asses as well, and maybe draw them into those stupid penalties. You know, it's very hard to sleepwalk through periods when you and the other team aren't getting along, having a little friendly chit-chat between the whistles. You know, definitely gets the adrenaline going, definitely gets your attention a little bit more. Nothing wakes you up like seeing your teammate make a big hit. You know, Folgers is probably the second best option. And as somebody who drinks Folgers at work pretty much every day at my day job, can confirm the best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup. Would it be a Calder
the best part of
waking?
Yeah, if the best part of waking up was getting into post-whistle scrums, that probably wouldn't make for a very good commercial. But Tucson should do that, though. I actually really like that analysis. I think that's pretty solid there, CC. Let's get into picks. CC, who you taking here?
Oh, gosh. I mean, in typical fashion, it's going to be a split weekend. You know, San Diego is going to get their first victory of the season in that first game, and then Tucson's going to take the second because it's Jekyll and Hyde, and San Diego needs to break this curse somehow. You know, it may be the curse of the Black Pearl. Maybe it went to the Pacific Ocean. You never know.
I'm going to take the opposite approach here with the same kind of idea. I think San Diego looks better on Friday night, but is still needing some time, some video, some moves to gel. I think Tucson takes the first, and then Jekyll and Hyde's it, fumbling it away. San Diego takes the second game as they find their game, and Tucson looks just bad in it. Like I think Saturday is going to be a San Diego like 5-2 kind of dominating win, whereas Tucson takes a close like 3-2, 4-3 game on Friday. The model has Tucson as a tiny coin flip, 51.4% favorite in each game. So very much fits, you know, kind of what we're thinking here as well.
You know,
sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. We plugged in the numbers, and initially the model came back and says, do I have to? Because that's the kind of game, kind of games that San Diego and Tucson, because I don't think it's going to be pretty. Unless Tucson comes out and literally punches San Diego in the mouth, maybe get a fight or two going on. And the model wasn't too keen.
I don't think it's going to be pretty, but I do think it will be fun.
Could be fun. Sure.
So we're going to take a break here. After the break, we will get to the speed round where we pick every remaining AHL game of the weekend. If you're just here for San Diego and Tucson, thank you for stopping by. You stay classy. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you're listening to us from so you get episodes in a timely fashion. We will be back on Tuesday to break down what happened in this series over the weekend, so you might want to get that right away. Also, check us out on social media, links to our social media, as well as links to our YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and Google podcast places can be found on our Linktree page at linktr.ee/the Calder Farmstead. One more time, slower in case you're writing it down, linktr.ee/the Calder Farmstead. We got to go pay some bills. We will be right back with the speed round. Stay tuned.
All right, we've done a deep dive on 4 divisional matchups that are occurring, and now it is time for the speed round. Let's get started. Let's talk Ontario at Abbotsford, Friday and Saturday. Shawnee.
Abbotsford just lost Justin Bailey to a call-up. I don't think he's back in time. Black and Silver Bandits sweep.
Yeah, 2 teams gunning for the top of the Pacific Division early on. I'm going to say Abbotsford on Friday, Ontario on Saturday. Let's keep it in the Pacific. Bakersfield at Henderson, Friday and Saturday.
Henderson still without a lot of its important pieces in the lineup. Condors take both.
Ooh, yeah, middle of the pack in the Pacific here. Long journey ahead of them. Henderson on Friday, Bako on Saturday. Let's go up north. Belleville versus Ontario, Friday at Ontario, Saturday. Shawnee.
Belleville and Toronto. Ontario, different Ontario.
Sorry.
Toronto can't possibly beat us awful, right? Right? Give me a home team win for both.
Belleville starts to build some momentum, and too many Bs. I say B sends in both games. Cleveland at Hershey, a little interdivisional, Saturday and Sunday. Sean.
Hershey takes whichever game through Cali starts. Copley takes the L because I don't trust him.
Fair. Top teams in their respective divisions. I say Cleveland on Saturday, Hershey on Sunday. Another split. Let's talk just Friday. Charlotte at Providence. First of 3 games in 3 nights for the Checkers. Shawnee.
Nika and Steenarn in Providence. Charlotte takes it.
Yep. Charlotte comes out swinging to make a good first impression on that Northeastern road trip. Next, we have Chicago at Milwaukee. Sean.
Milwaukee bounces back here, gets some vengeance from a disappointing weekend series last weekend. I will take the ads.
I will take Chicago. The Wolves want to make a statement to start off the weekend. Let's move on. Cleveland at Syracuse.
Syracuse looked better on Wednesday, but I'm taking Cleveland here until I see more consistency from the crunch.
Yeah. Monsters want to start the weekend off strong, of course. But yeah, I actually am going to contradict that. I'm going to say they get crunched. Syracuse takes it. Colorado at San Jose. Shawnee.
There's too much talent in Colorado to be this bad consistently, right? I got to go Colorado here.
Yeah, I mean, Colorado has to get their first win somewhere. Yeah, I'm going to say pick Colorado as well. Get that first win. Wilkes-Barre Scranton at Hartford. Shawnee.
I don't believe in Wilkes-Barre Scranton. Flat out. Give me Hartford here.
It's tough here. Both teams have had fairly good starts. I'm going to go coin flip and pick the Wolfpack as well. Let's head to Saturday. Providence at Bridgeport.
Bridgeport. That's it, Bridgeport.
All right. Okay, I'm going to say Providence bounces back after Friday's loss to Charlotte. P-Bruins. Charlotte at Hartford. That's the second game in 3 nights for the Checkers. Sean?
I like the Checkers here, but I think Hartford gives them a challenge. I see like an overtime game for Hartford to lose. Charlotte.
I agree. Checkers take their second in as many nights. Colorado at Stockton. Shawnee.
Stockton just got more capable talent sent down from Calgary to Cali, taking the heat.
Stockton's been hot. Pun very much intended. Eagles board the struggle bus once again. Milwaukee at Grand Rapids.
Bus legs from Milwaukee. I'll take the Griffins.
I'm going to say Milwaukee rebounds after the loss to Chicago. Rockford at Texas. Shawnee.
You had me at Rockford at. I will take Texas.
Rockford's hapless. Texas has home cooking. Enough said. Wilkes-Barre Scranton at Springfield.
Perunovic continues his tour of destruction. T-Birds big.
Yeah. Thunderbirds so studly. Springfield rocks. We'll go to Sunday. Hartford at Bridgeport.
I've been terribly impressed with Hartford this season so far. Give me Bridgeport.
You know, I'm going to say Hartford gets a dub on the last day of the weekend here. Charlotte at Springfield to close 3 games in 3 days for the Checkers. Johnny.
Springfield's fresher, they take it.
And they're just a great team. Checkers are worn out. Springfield stays hot. Chicago at Grand Rapids. Shawnee.
Bus Legs Volume 2, Grand Rapids.
Always a rivalry here. I'm going to say Grand Rapids as well. Lastly, San Jose at Stockton. Take it away, Sean.
Stockton. I don't believe in the clown car that is San Jose's roster.
You know, as Glenn Fry once sang, the heat is on. It's on the street. Yeah, it's going to be Stockton again. It stays on. Wow.
That was an extended speed round.
That was an extended speed round, going up to 31 teams and having all these matchups. And I was not prepared for that. But Sean, we made it to the other side. We have finished up episode number 57 of the Calder Farmstead. That is it for the show. And as always, we thank you for watching and or listening. The Calder Farmstead is part of the Full Press Radio Network. You can listen to this and a number of other great hockey, sports, and sports entertainment programs at www.fullpresscoverage.com. Just click the podcast button in the upper right-hand corner, drop-down menu. Brrr, that's the list populating. That's the noise. And then you can enjoy. And of course, out of all those selections, we appreciate you making time for our show.
And if you're enjoying the Calder Farmstead, please make sure you subscribe so you get episodes in a timely fashion. Also, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please rate and review the podcast. I'd appreciate some 5 stars, or if you think maybe we're a 3.5-star podcast, a pity 1.5. That's really all we're looking for here. If you're watching on YouTube, like the video and comment what you thought of the episode. Doing so helps others find the show, and your reviews help us improve it. You can also follow the show on social media at Calder Farmstead on Twitter, at The Calder Farmstead on Instagram and Facebook. Links to all of that and more can be found on our Linktree page, which is linktr.ee/The Calder Farmstead. You can spell the Calder Farmstead. It's got to be somewhere if you found us. Big thanks to Adrian Drake, who made our theme music. You can find him on social media at AD_dysfunction. That's DYSFUNCTION. So he can make music for you too. Cece, where can people find you?
My name is CC Hawkley, and you can find me representing Full Press Hockey on Twitter at FPC_AHL, and at my personal Twitter account at CC Hawk. That's SEESEEHAWK. Just because I'm a pirate doesn't mean I can't spell. Check out my writing on the Full Press Coverage Network at www.fullpresshockey.com. Phantom, Sean, where can people find you?
In box 5 mostly, but you can also find me on Twitter at Sean O'Brien 81. That's SeanObrien 81. I'm also on Instagram at Sean O'Brien _81. You can find my stats work, including all of the models, goals saved above average, PDO things. All of that is on my Tableau page at bit.ly/data-dump-and-chase. All lowercase, all one word. Cece, I have a chandelier to ride, so please take us home.
Will do, matey. For Sean the Phantom O'Brien, I'm CC Blackbeard Hawkley. We thank you once again for tuning into the Calder Farmstead, the good ship Calder Farmstead, episode number 57. It's down the bowl. We say, hey, keep your stick on the ice, or you'll walk the plank. Arr.